Hi, I get asked this question time and time again. What is the best way to lose weight? Well, by the way, losing weight is not the same as losing fat. Weight loss refers to a decrease in your overall body weight from muscles, water, and fat losses. Fat loss refers to weight loss from fat, and it is a more specific and healthier goal than weight loss. You should therefore aim at losing fat rather than losing weight. Now, I'm sure you have been told building muscles is a great way to burn fat because muscles are metabolically active and can burn fat even when you're resting. The fact of the matter is that building a reasonable amount of muscle to burn enough fat so as to improve your overall physique and muscle definition is easier said than done, not to mention the time and consistent efforts that you need. We are all too aware of the importance of regular exercise for healthy living. Furthermore, we also know that prolonged sitting is related to back pain. Of course, we would all wish to enhance our fitness through regular exercises. The problem is, in this day and age when everybody is so busy, we don't always have time to spend hours after hours in the gym. So what is the most effective way of burning fat and improving our overall fitness? Well, according to the ACSM, more calories are burned in short, high-intensity exercise routines. Not only does this type of training improve our overall cardiovascular fitness and save time, it also helps us to increase our metabolism and hence burn more calories for hours after we have completed our workout. So what is HIIT? Well, interval training combines short, high-intensity bursts of speed with slow recovery phases. That is what we call active rest, repeated during one exercise session. We used to believe that a long, steady-paced cardio workout was superior for fat loss because relatively more fat is burned via aerobic glycolysis at lower exercise intensities than at higher intensities. Actually, the so-called weight management or fat burning zone, which is around 60 to 70% of the maximum heart rate, is not necessarily optimal for burning fat. It is true that fat calories are burned during prolonged low-intensity exercise, but fewer overall calories are burned during this type of exercise. It is also a fact that you burn more fat relative to glycogen, but the main concern is the total amount of fat burned. At higher intensities, you burn more fat in total, even though the fat-glycogen ratio is lower. It is important for you to know that the number of calories burned depends on the distance you cover. So the more intense your training, the greater the duration and the greater the frequency, the more calories will be expended as you will be covering a greater distance. The problem is that you can maintain peak intensity for only a short period of time. You must use interval during which you train at peak intensity in short bursts, followed by moderately paced cardio, and then start all over again. Now, to understand the effects of exercises on the body's system, we need to analyze how the body creates energy for these activities and how these exercises place different demands on energy production. Let's take a look at how our body acquires energy in the first place. All functions of the body require energy, and this energy comes from the breakdown of ATP. There is a limited store of ATP within the muscle, and it lasts only for approximately 1 or 2 seconds. Resynthesis of ATP comes from either the breakdown of phosphocreatine or micronutrients in the diet, such as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Creatine is produced in the liver from amino acid and is transported in the blood to muscle cells, where it is combined with phosphate to make phosphocreatine. Creatine can be obtained in the diet from fish. Vegetarians have no dietary source of creatine. ATP is made up of 1 adenosine and 3 phosphate molecules. When one of these phosphate is removed, the energy is released. This is a crucial reaction to sustain life. When one of the 3 phosphate is removed, the resulting compound is called ADP. ADP can be converted back into ATP so that it can be used again. The 3 energy systems use different fuels to convert ADP back into ATP. The first of this system is the creatine phosphate system. This system is anaerobic and does not require oxygen, fats, or carbohydrates. ATP can be regenerated almost immediately using creatine phosphate. But again, this lasts only for a very short period of time because of the limited creatine phosphate store. This energy system is used during activities requiring maximal exertion and when muscles need to generate a lot of force very quickly. Then we have the lactate system, which uses intramuscular glycogen to make ATP. Glycogen is broken down into glucose without oxygen. Lastly, we have the aerobic system, which involves the production of ATP from the complete breakdown of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins in the presence of oxygen. This system is active when there's sufficient oxygen to meet the demand of energy production. Surprisingly, the best way to burn fat is actually with light exercise. About 60 to 70% of your maximal heart rate. Fat burns slowly as fuel and requires oxygen to burn properly. However, lighter exercise also burns fewer overall calories. Remember, the number of calories burned depends on the distance you cover, so the more intense your training and the greater the duration, the more calories will be expended as you will be covering a greater distance. The body is most efficient at producing ATP through aerobic metabolism. However, during the high-intensity phase, we are simply unable to supply oxygen at a rate that is fast enough to fuel our muscles. As a result, our anaerobic system intervenes using our intramuscular glycogen to assist in the provision of energy to the muscles for short bursts of activity. This type of training depletes the intramuscular glycogen quickly within a couple of minutes. Recovery should be active to aid the return of blood to the liver, where glycogens are stored. The active recovery period allows anaerobic glycolysis to produce and replace ATP in the involved muscles. The byproduct of anaerobic glycolysis is lactic acid, and as this builds up, you enter oxygen debt. And it is during the recovery phase that your heart and lungs work together to pay back this debt and break down the lactic acid. In other words, after completion of your intense training, your body has to repay the borrowed energy it owes to return your body to homeostasis. The more energy your body borrowed during the intense effort, the more oxygen it owes. So after an intense effort, you continue to breathe hard and your heart rate is elevated. Your metabolism is operating at a higher rate to repay the oxygen it borrowed. The larger the oxygen debt created by your workout, the longer it will take to repay it, with the benefit of more calories being burned for a longer period of time after your training. It must be noted that the level of oxygen debt is influenced by the intensity of the exercise, not the duration. In order to create an oxygen debt, the effort has to be intense enough to switch over to borrowed energy or to an anaerobic mode. Therefore, pushing hard all the way before catching your breath is the best way of increasing oxygen debt. And this also increases the production of lactic acid. You should perform another intense exercise before the body has recovered to assist it in accumulating more lactic acid in the muscles. Sprinting and resistance training are the best way to accomplish this. Resistance training with compound exercises for large muscle groups, such as those of the chest, back, glutes, and legs, place a greater demand on the involved muscle for ATP from anaerobic glycolysis. Examples of such exercises include chest press, pull-ups, deadlifts, and squats. There are many different types of interval training. Each is designed to target the energy systems mentioned above. Going into great detail about this is beyond the scope of this video. The table here illustrates the various forms of interval training that are designed to target the energy systems you wish to enhance. Interval training programs are easily adapted to suit most sports. This is done by manipulating the intensity and the duration of the work intervals, as well as the length of the rest periods, to create the desired adaptation. For example, if you wish to enhance your lactate system, you push yourself hard to 70 to 90% of your maximum heart rate for 1 minute. 1 minute of exercise and 3 minutes of active rest for 4 to 5 sets. You need to keep in mind that interval training is extremely demanding on the heart, lungs, and muscles, and it is important to seek medical clearance before you begin. You should also have a solid base of overall cardiovascular fitness before embarking on this type of training. You're advised to engage an exercise professional who will select the type of HIIT appropriate for your goals. And after any exercise sessions, especially intense cardiovascular training, it is important to cool down to avoid blood pooling. Thank you for watching until the end. If you like this video, please click the like button. Please subscribe, share, and comment. Please also hit the bell so that you will be notified of any new future video release. If you're interested in improving your health and fitness, and if you want to prevent lower back pain, please take a look at my book, which is now available from Amazon. Thank you.